Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. Welcome to episode 92 of the Old Mage MTG podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a few MTG topics to discuss today. First, we're going to start the day by beginning a new series. This is episode 1 of what we are calling the cereal series. We're going to learn about all of the old decks named after breakfast cereals, and there are more than you would think. I heard about one of them and I was like, oh, there's a deck named after breakfast cereal. And then I went down a rabbit hole. After that, we're going to move on to a quick MTG finance segment. We're going to look at some market moves in old frame MTG. From time to time, we like to take a look at some of the swings in the market. There are a few old cards making some big moves, and I want to talk about those. And then finally, we're going to finish up in the Old Mage Commander corner where Alex and I will continue to build our 2024 Commander decks. We're now about 6 months into the year, and now is about time to wrap it up. I'm almost finished. We're getting very close to the end. But before we get into those topics, this is the part of the podcast where I shill. I'm going to say if you enjoy the podcast, you can support us by giving us a like, subscribing if you haven't already. You can do those things on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. You can also leave comments, positive comments only. If you have something negative to say, DM me directly at Old Mage MTG on Twitter. Don't put the negative comments in public where Alex might see them. He'll get upset and then he'll stop doing the podcast with me. So if you want to lash out to me directly. I can take it. 2, I got to say, if you're in the market for cardboard or cardboard accessories, please purchase them via our TCG Player affiliate link. You can find it in the episode description below. For instance, if you saw some stuff that people are really excited about all of a sudden right now because some new cards are printed in Modern Horizons 3 and you want to buy a copy of maybe one uncommon from Legends and maybe another uncommon from Legends, maybe things we're going to talk about later in the show, click our affiliate link, then do it. That's it. That's all the shilling. Those are all free things that you can do to help support the show. With that out of the way, Alex, let's get into segment 1. Segment 1 is named after this breakfast cereal you see right here on my screen.
Oh, it looks
Alex.
so good.
Do you know what breakfast cereal this is?
I've been staring at it for like 20 minutes and it's enticing.
It's a mighty fine breakfast cereal. It's a breakfast cereal that I break down maybe like once every 1 to 2 years. I'm walking in the grocery store. I break down. I buy a king-size box of Fruity Pebbles. I take it home and I pound the whole damn thing in like 24 to 48 hours.
It's been a while for me.
It's good. Sometimes
I go to the cocoa a little more often.
Cocoa Pebbles, really?
Cocoa Krispies, are a little more common for me, but I do like the Fruity Pebbles.
I haven't had Cocoa Pebbles since I was tiny, a little one.
Why not?
I never crave them. I see the Fruity Pebbles. That's what I crave. I never crave Cocoa Pebbles. But this is the deck we're going to talk about today. This is the one I learned about first. Out of all the cereal decks, the first one I came across, Fruity Pebbles. It's also the one that I believe started the trend of naming Magic the Gathering decks after breakfast cereals. This particular deck that I'm going to show you today was the deck that was played by Kai Bude. Should have figured out how to pronounce his last name before we did this episode. I believe it's Bude. Kai Bude. He brought it to PT Chicago in 1999. This is his extended Fruity Pebbles deck. This is a 4-color deck, for those who don't know already, but the core of the deck is composed of just a red card and a white card. So really the core of the deck involves Enduring Renewal, which is an enchantment from Ice Age. It's 2 colorless, 2 white. You play with the cards in your hand face up on the table. That's not really that important for this combo, but the next parts are. If you draw a creature card from your library, discard it. Whenever a creature goes to your graveyard from play, put that creature into your hand. So when Enduring Renewal is on the field, you're not going to be drawing any more creatures from your deck, but any creatures that are already in play, when they go to the graveyard, they're going to come right back to you, right back to your hand. So this is the first key card in the Fruity Pebbles deck, which I have to say is a combo deck. It's a strict combo deck. The next key card in the Fruity Pebbles combo is Goblin Bombardment. This is an enchantment from Tempest. It's one colorless, one red. So we have a white card and a red card. Goblin Bombardment says sacrifice a creature. Goblin Bombardment deals 1 damage to target creature or player. And then the next key card in the Fruity Pebbles deck is a 0 casting cost creature. And in this particular deck, he throws in 2 0 casting cost creatures. These were the ones that were available to him at the time. And I still don't think there are that many 0 casting cost artifact creatures. But he went with Shield Sphere, 4 Shield Spheres, which is 0 casting cost, 0/6, counts as a wall. If it's assigned as a blocker, put a -1 or -0, -1 counter on it. So this is great in a combo deck because it has such a large toughness, 0/6. You plop it down early on, and you're a strict combo deck. You don't have a lot of creatures, but if your opponent wants to start attacking you right away, you have a 0/6 blocker that you could put out as soon as you want it. So there's 4 of those, and then he has 1 Phyrexian Walker. I think probably just in testing the deck, he found that he needed at least 5 creatures to get this combo off.
Couldn't put a 5th
frequently enough. Yeah. So he picked the next best 0 casting cost artifact or 0 casting cost creature that was available to him, and that is Phyrexian Walker, 0 casting cost 0/3.
I love it. I love it when people play with the 0 casting cost artifact creatures to get them out, sacrifice them.
You could make this deck and throw in some Ornithopters if you wanted to go old school. So these are the engine of the deck. Essentially, you get a Enduring Renewal out, and a Goblin Bombardment out, and then a 0 casting cost artifact creature out, and then it's game over for your opponent. You can go infinite. You sacrifice the 0 casting cost artifact creature to the Goblin Bombardment. It goes to the graveyard. Because Enduring Renewal is in play, it comes right back to your hand. You replay it again for 0. You sacrifice it to the Goblin Bombardment. Do that as many times as you want till your opponent's dead. So, pure combo deck. The rest of the deck
designed to get you the enchantments you need.
Designed to get you the cards you want. So, card search, you have 4 Brainstorm, 4 Demonic Consultation, 2 Enlightened Tutor. They get artifacts and enchantments. That's what you need for this combo. You need artifact creatures and enchantments. And 4 Impulse to help you rifle through your deck. Counter Magic. You want counter magic a lot of the times to protect your combo. 3 Arcane Denials, 4 Force of Wills, and then the rest I threw into the other category, not the other category. 4 Tithe for mana fixing, try to get your white and your red out as soon as possible. And of course, an extended Tithe can help you pull the dual lands. So this card is much stronger when you have dual lands available to you. It says grab a plains, but you can pick a scrubland, you can pick a tundra, you can pick a plateau. And then 3 Mana Vault. When I first looked at this deck, I was like, why the Mana Vault? This confused me for a short period of time. After looking for a while, I was like, I guess, that 3 colorless mana that you can tap the vault for does help you drop an Enduring Renewal, which has 2 colorless in the casting cost, and a Goblin Bombardment, which has 1 colorless in the casting cost, a lot sooner than you could if you didn't have something that could generate,
Yeah, I immediately thought of the Enduring Renewal, but that still didn't seem like enough for it.
Well, I would think that too, but maybe it is. I mean, anything that helps you get the Enduring Renewal out even just 1 turn faster.
Yeah.
Worth it. What else do I want to say?
I only said that because I thought you were going to come up with another reason for.
That was it.
Oh, okay. No. Okay. All right. Then I was right.
Well, maybe we're both wrong, but I think we're both right. I think we're both right. I think that's it. The other only thought that I had is it could help you hard cast the Forced Will if you
Yeah,
really wanted to.
yeah.
Because without something that generates a lot of mana like the Mana Vault, I don't see how you're ever hard casting the Force of Will. But with Force of Will, you usually don't want to hard cast it. You're going to pitch
Yeah,
something.
I was thinking that too, and I mean, yeah, it could be the case.
It's an option for you.
Uh-huh. I didn't notice at first the Enlightened Tutor could be used to get the artifact creatures that you need, which is nice.
Yeah.
So, it gets you any of your 3 combo pieces.
It gets you all your important cards. So that's the benefit of using artifact creatures as your zero casting cost creature. But I think is there any such thing as a zero casting cost non-artifact creature in
I don't
Magic?
want to
I
say there
can't.
isn't, but I'm not familiar with any of them off the
Neither
top
am
of my
I.
head.
Neither am I.
And if there are, I can almost guarantee you they have like a downside to them, like
Yeah.
a black card that has some like, penalty
And if
associated with it.
if there are, I definitely don't think they're. I definitely think they're modern frame. Like I don't think they
Yeah, because in old
exist on the.
border, in order to be like to have a color identity, then they'd have to have like a mana activated ability on them, right? Like,
I think so. Yeah. I don't remember any such thing, but who knows what they've done post 2003. We haven't gotten that
yeah.
far yet in the
In
history of
fact, I'd
Magic.
wager there is probably something like that.
Probably. If not, it's
There
coming
will be
eventually
next month.
because they're going to run out of ideas. So that's Fruity Pebbles. It's a bit of a glass cannon, like any strict combo deck is. You just need to get out 3 cards, and the rest of your deck is designed to find those 3 cards and to protect those cards. What is the bane of Fruity Pebbles? That's what I was thinking about when I was like, okay, what do I worry about if I play a glass cannon combo deck like this? I don't have a lot of experience with combo decks. I never really played combo. It's something I need to get into at some point in the not too distant future. But one of the things that popped into my head from around this era is Aura of Silence. So I can remember that card, Alex. It's not in this
I
deck,
was
but
just putting it into a deck. I just was telling you about a green-white deck I'm making. I was just
okay.
putting that in the other day. I think I took it back out, but I might put it back in. But
No, it's not in Fruity Pebbles, but I just added it in Moxfield real quick so we could look at it. Originally printed in Weatherlight, it's an enchantment. It's 1 colorless, 2 white. Artifact or enchantment spells your opponents cast cost 2 more to cast. You could also sacrifice it to destroy target artifact or enchantment. So if your opponent has an Aura of Silence on the battlefield, your combo is ruined. Every time you sacrifice your zero casting cost artifact to Goblin Bombardment, yeah, it'll go to the graveyard and then come back to your hand, but then you just can't keep dropping it and go infinite and do infinite damage with it. Every time you want to drop it again, you have to pay 2 more colorless
yeah,
in order to drop it. So you're going to be able to do a limited amount of damage each turn if an Aura of Silence is in play all of a sudden. So Aura of Silence is just what popped into my head, but any card that adds casting cost to your zero casting cost artifact creatures would totally ruin this combo. Something else like Sphere of Resistance also popped into my head.
okay, yeah.
What else would be a problem? Heavy discard could be a problem, or heavy control. A heavy control deck with lots of counter spells, lots of removals. Those are just the standard things that interfere with any combo deck.
Something that could like negate low amounts of damage or protection from red, something like that, so that those pings of red damage wouldn't hurt.
Pro red would suck too, yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't think about that, but Goblin Bombardment, it's a red enchantment, so this is red damage.
I think so, because it says Goblin Bombardment deals 1
It
damage.
does. It says Goblin
Oh,
Bombardment deals 1 damage to
yeah.
target creature or player.
And if there's something, I'm trying to think of cards that do something like, like if a source of damage, like ignore the first damage that it deals to you, or that's a poor way of phrasing it. But do you know what I mean? I'm trying to think of cards like that.
Yeah. In that case, though, since you can just keep looping this, would that be a problem? Since you can go infinite with it.
I think so, because I'm thinking of it like the way Pestilence works, where like it's each one is like a separate instance of damage, as opposed to you like adding them all up and doing 20 damage. You'd be doing 1 damage 20 separate times.
In this case, you would be.
Yeah. That's how
Yeah.
Pestilence works too, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Well, so in that case, wouldn't like a cop red be unable to stop
Cop
this?
red wouldn't help. No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm being abstract. You know, I'm hypothesizing a type of card that I'm not sure even
Okay.
exists. But
Okay. Okay. I get it. Yeah.
yeah.
But that's Fruity Pebbles. It's a fun deck. It's a fairly simple deck, in theory. I gotta throw this together and play it, see how difficult it is to actually execute. And I think this
Yeah.
would be good practice working on combo decks, working on assembling and protecting a
Uh-huh.
combo.
It
Anytime you have a
doesn't.
3-card combo, it gets more complicated.
It doesn't seem like that it's too. It would be too hard to pilot, though. It seems like it would kind of, you have to counter stuff that's important, and you have to use your tutors and use your card draw. Um, I'd be a little nervous about, like I'm playing no removals, just counters to deal with threats.
Yeah,
But you have the shield sphere too, which, like you said, is a 0/6 blocker. So,
yeah.
it might just work out.
But that's the other thing. Yeah, your counters aren't only there to protect your combo. Sometimes you're going to have to, decide, do I save this counter to protect one of my combo pieces, or do I need to counter that thing that my opponent just played, or it's going to
Right.
kill me before I have a chance to assemble my
Yeah.
combo? It doesn't seem that complicated, but it's such a pure combo deck that I think it would be good practice for somebody who wants to learn how to pilot combo like me. Don't have much combo experience. No combo experience, really. I got zero combo experience. I've never played a combo deck. I want to play this and I want to play Bloom. I think both of those would be good combo decks to practice with, which we'll
Okay.
talk about Bloom in more depth later on. Now moving on from Fruity Pebbles, I went to look at the rest of the field at PT Chicago 1999. I believe this is a tournament we looked at before. We did. We looked at DD Slivers when we were reviewing some classic sliver decks, Demonic Direction Slivers, which was essentially a counter sliver deck. I think it was at least a sliver deck with Demonic Consultation.
Okay.
DD Slivers was in top 8 of PT Chicago 1999. But anyways, I went and I looked through the rest of the field, and I noticed that Fruity Pebbles was nowhere to be found in the top 8. If you go to MTG top 8, type in Pro Tour Chicago 1999, there's no Fruity Pebbles. Although the rest of my research on the internet tells me that this deck was played PT Chicago 1999. If I'm wrong, somebody tell me. But I believe it was at PT Chicago 1999, and it just didn't make the top 8. What I did notice is there was another Pebbles deck in the top 8, Alex. This one was called Cocoa Pebbles, and it was piloted by one Tony Dobson. So that got me interested in looking at Cocoa Pebbles. And this is the Cocoa Pebbles deck from PT Chicago 1999, played by Tony Dobson. What are the differences between Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles? Well, one is fruit flavored, the other is chocolate flavored. One is preferred by Steve, the other is preferred by Alex. Those are a few differences. They're still combo decks. Cocoa Pebbles still goes infinite with the combination of Goblin Bombardment, Enduring Renewal, and a 0 casting cost artifact creature. But the big difference with Cocoa Pebbles, it's actually a Necro-enabled combo deck. So there's Necropotence in Cocoa Pebbles. This might be the first ever Necro-enabled combo deck to make a big splash in Magic the Gathering. When I think about older Necro decks that I've seen people play, and I'm not a Necro expert, I don't know all the Necro history, but when I think of old Necro decks, most of them involved drain life, generating mana, draining life to take your
Okay. Yeah,
opponent's
like a
life down
big
to
finisher.
0. Yeah, and to gain back some of your life that you lost to Necro to draw the cards. Well, not draw the cards, right? Doesn't Necro say put them in your hand? Yeah. You don't draw cards with Necro. You skip your draw step. You put the cards into your hand. Put that card into your hand, yes. But anyways, I think this might have been the first deck, at least the first deck that became famous, that somebody put Necro in order to facilitate the assembly of combo pieces. So Cocoa Pebbles is technically a 5-color deck because there is a green card and a blue card in the sideboard, but the main deck is mostly black, white, red. So it really looks like a black, white, red deck.
Okay.
In the
Well, I was going to ask about the last one, because
okay,
was there a green card in the sideboard? Is that why
there
it's
might have been. Maybe I forgot to mention that.
technically? Because
I don't know what the sideboard of Fruity Pebbles is.
I was going to issue a complaint. There was no green in the Fruity Pebbles.
Is that does that bother you because there's a green flake in the Fruity Pebbles cereal, or does it bother you
Exactly.
for another reason? Okay. Uh, let me pull this back up again. Yeah, it's right there. You're right. Well, there's no yellow in the deck either, Alex, or
Oh,
purple. So we're close enough. What colors are there? Blue, red.
red. Black is purple,
Oh, hold on a
right?
second.
Or something.
Okay, we can make that case. But the deck is mostly blue, red, white. Is there a patriotic Fruity Pebbles? I was walking through the grocery store. I was in Giant Eagle the other day, going through the aisle, and I was down the cereal aisle, and I noticed a special type of Fruity Pebbles called summer Fruity Pebbles. And I'm looking that up right now.
Was
Let
it
me
red,
look
white,
up.
and blue?
It looks like I
Orange
wish
and
I
high
that's what I was
pebbles?
hoping it was, but it looks to me like it might actually be blue and red only. So that doesn't fit either. But it's more appropriate maybe than the standard Fruity Pebbles, which has yellow in it. But if you're going to make the argument that purple is black, can't we just say yellow's white?
I figured the milk was white.
Okay. Okay. So the yellow's just extraneous.
Yeah, and there's orange too, I think. That stock picture we saw, I'm not sure if that's all of the actual colors of the Fruity Pebbles too.
Okay.
Just blue and red. I don't get why that's summer.
I don't either.
Okay.
But you got your white for the milk. So,
I would
and
have
I
made
don't
it yellow, orange, green for summer, like sunshine and foliage.
plants. Yeah. I don't know when Summer Fruity Pebbles was first brought to market, but it probably didn't exist back in 1999. I don't remember seeing this
Probably not, no.
ever. It's a little bit more appropriate for the Fruity Pebbles deck since the white is the milk and then you got blue and red. That is that's the color scheme of the bulk of the original Fruity Pebbles deck. There's also a summer berry flavored limited edition Pebbles. Those also just look blue. Red, I believe that the summer Fruity Pebbles is just a reissue of their older limited edition summer berry flavored Pebbles.
Ah. Have the Flintstones always been the
Yes.
face of Fruity Pebbles? Okay.
Yes.
I kind of thought so, but I wasn't sure.
I don't know why.
Because, they're cavemen and the cereal is rocks, right? Like they eat rocks.
Cocoa Pebbles. What is in the sideboard? This is what I was getting to. There's a blue card and a green card in the sideboard. Defense of the Heart
Nice.
is in the sideboard. During your upkeep, if one of your opponent controls 3 or more creatures, sacrifice Defense of the Heart, search your library for up to 2 creature cards, put those creatures into play. I guess this is a good way if you're playing somebody that's running a creature horde deck. Maybe you throw some Defense in the Hearts in there and you can ensure that you at some point fairly early in the game, if they start to drop a lot of creatures, at some point early in the game, you can get your 0 casting cost artifact creatures.
Uh-huh.
Mana short, all opponents' lands are tapped and opponent's mana pool is emptied. Opponent takes no damage from unspent mana. Probably if your opponent is running a lot of counter spells, you cast mana short to drain their mana before you cast your last combo piece. This helps you cast your combo, right? If you mana short your opponent.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And you just have to hope they don't have a Force of Will in their hand. I don't know what else you would want to play that for, but that's my guess. Boarded in against counterspell decks. permission decks. But again, most of the deck is black, white, red. Why get rid of blue in the main deck? You know, we saw blue in the main deck of Fruity Pebbles, and blue was there in Fruity Pebbles for card draw and card sorting, but you can simply get rid of it when you have the best card draw spell in the game in the form of a black enchantment. That's Necropotent. So just totally get rid of it. The creatures, they run 4 Shield Spheres, 2 Phyrexian Walkers, and then we have a new addition that I like a lot, 4 Academy Rectors. This is amazing in a deck that relies on a combo that utilizes 2 enchantments, right?
Oh.
So Academy Rector's 3 colorless, 1 white, 1/2 cleric. When it's put in the graveyard from play, you can remove it from the game. If you do, search your library for an enchantment card and put that card into play, then shuffle your library. So this is another way to tutor up your Enduring Renewal or your Goblin Bombardment. You can try to play it to block your opponent's creature, you know, have them attack into it, and you're like, fine. You know, eat up my Academy Rector. I'll go grab my enchantments. Good luck. Good luck with that. I did think, but is it better than having an Enlightened Tutor? You know, Fruity Pebbles ran some Enlightened Tutors.
I assumed that it was like not in the format anymore or whatever for the second deck, but
Maybe. Are there any Mirage cards here? Well, no, this was in the same tournament.
I thought
That's what
this
I
was
was
later.
thinking.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No, it's PT Chicago 1999. So this is, unless I'm wrong, and this Fruity Pebbles deck isn't actually from PT Chicago 1999. It's possible that the internet is wrong, but the internet told me this was the list for Kai Buddha's PT Chicago 99. So if that's correct, then Tony
Well,
Dobson could have run the Enlightened Tutor, but he went with
I mean,
Academy Rector
I
instead.
can see it being better for sure because I mean, you put it directly into play, and that means you skip the 4 casting cost enchantment that has 2 white in the casting cost. So that's nice.
Yeah, damn, you put it directly into play. Yeah. Even though I just read that, I wasn't thinking about it. You do put it directly into play. My only issue is it has to go to the graveyards, you know. So
Yes, I was going to ask if there was a way to sacrifice Academy Rector in here, but it doesn't look like
yes,
it.
that's where this card comes in. That's
Oh,
what I was going to say.
I didn't even look at the lands. Okay.
I didn't scroll down yet. I was hiding it. It was going to be a secret. It does work great with Phyrexian Tower.
Okay, nice.
He's running 3 Phyrexian Towers. Legendary land, add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool, or tap and sacrifice a creature to add 2 black to your mana pool. So not only can you feed the Academy Rector to the Phyrexian Tower to go grab an Enduring Renewal or Goblin Bombardment, but at the same time, you can also generate 2 black mana, potentially, you know, cast a Necro or something. So,
Yeah, I like that. I need Phyrexian Towers now. Uh, and that makes me sad.
I think it's being reprinted in Modern Horizons 3. But and this is something I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work out. I saw that and I was like, oh, Phyrexian Tower being reprinted. Usually that's good. Usually that brings the price down, right? I
Nothing.
th I think prior to this reprint, Phyrexian Tower was, oh, never mind, I'm wrong. I was going to say, I don't know if Phyrexian Tower was modern legal until this reprint. So I was like, now, yes, it's a reprint, but if it's being reprinted in modern for the first time and now modern legal, you're going to have a whole nother pool of players that want it for a whole bunch of other decks. So is the increased printing going to outstrip the increased demand in the new format? But I'm looking at a copy of Phyrexian Tower on MTG stocks that was printed in Ultimate Masters, and it has a modern frame. So I think it's been modern legal.
So we talked about this before, I think, with the Modern Horizon sets. I don't think everything printed in them becomes legal in modern, right? Some of them will not be.
I don't know.
I'm looking right now. Modern Horizons three cards with the MH3 set code are permitted in the modern format, as well as blah, 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 blah. The 42 cards with the MH3 set code are reprinted cards from Magic's past. These can be recognized by the watermarks. These cards are being introduced to the modern format with their printing here, but their appearance in Modern Horizons 3 won't change their legality in other formats. Okay, so it
Okay.
can introduce new cards to the modern format.
But it doesn't necessarily, that doesn't mean every card printed in Modern Horizons 3 is now modern legal.
That's what I'm taking
Yeah.
away from that, I think. So
All
have to
that
look at
being
that.
said, yeah, I remember that, it tells me right here on MTG stocks whether or not a card is modern legal. And Phyrexian Tower is listed as modern legal.
Okay. Yeah, I've tried to put it in some decks a little bit in the past, just like messing around, and then maybe taking it out or pared down the number I had, but using it with Academy Rector is really attractive.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? Since May 1st, it has been, there's a definite downslope. Look at this.
I feel like stuff sometimes drops more after the set comes out too, right? It's more going to be like once a lot of these come into the pool.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But the fact that it's already taken like a clearly visible dip, I think
Yeah, that's good.
That's if you want to buy it cheaper, it's a good sign that you could probably get it even cheaper if you wait 4
Yeah.
to 6 months. Current market price of $52.
It's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Okay. And look, I mean, you could see that. That's considerable. From almost 70 to 50 in the course of a month. This is probably right when it was announced that it was going to be reprinted. So I bet it breaks this. I bet it goes below $30.
Yeah, well, it had just spiked not too recently before that. Like that's pretty recent price increase.
Anyways, I'm going to do some technical chart. I'm going to draw some lines here to some technical chart. I'm going to call 30, 31, 32 former resistance. I say this breaks the resistance line. It breaks resistance and then bottoms out around $15. What am I
Bold
basing that
prediction.
on?
No.
I'm making it up. I'm making it up, but also it's probably gonna happen. Back to Cocoa Pebbles. What was I saying about Cocoa Pebbles? I was talking about the addition of Academy Erector and how I like that because it can put your enchantments directly into play. And we just mentioned that it works great with Phyrexian Tower because you can use Phyrexian Tower to sacrifice your Academy Erector, go get your enchantment that you needed, and generate 2 black mana.
Hmm?
So those are the creatures. Academy Erector, the key addition. Sorceries, you have 4 Duress. You have no counter magic in this deck. They've gotten rid of the blue. But you do now have some way to, pick some key cards out of your opponent's hand. If they have counter magic of their own, you can draw it out with the duress, or if they have removal, disenchant, naturalizes, you can pick those off with duress. So you're going to want to try to play your discard to help protect your combo pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Instance, you have 4 dark rituals, 4 demonic consultations. Dark ritual, of course, goes splendidly with Necro. Turn 1 Dark Ritual into Necro. You're set. Demonic Concentration will help you find your other combo pieces. Artifacts, again, you have Mana Vault. This will help you ramp out not only your Enduring Renewal and your Gun Bombardment here, but it'll also help you ramp out your Academy Rector.
Yeah.
You can get turn 2 Rector out.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 Mox Diamonds. Mana fixing. A little bit of ramp too. Enchantments, your Enduring Renewal, your Goblin Bombardment, and then in the main deck, they put what I called the Bane of the Fruity Pebbles deck. Just a few minutes ago, I said this is the Bane of the Fruity Pebbles deck. Why have it in your main deck? It's going to be your Bane too. Well, I guess you could just not play it. Now, I don't know the reason for putting this in the main deck, but
It just
maybe he
affects
was...
your opponent.
Oh, son of a bitch. That's
why I'm
right.
here.
That's right. And I knew that because I had this conversation with myself just the other day. I was like, why is it in the deck? And then I thought maybe for the mirror match. And then I read it again and I'm like, it's just your opponent. But also, maybe it's here for the mirror match. So my
I
thought on
don't know
the,
what the whole meta was like at this point either.
I
Like,
don't
what
either.
other, so there might have been other strong enchantments, in
Oh,
some
here we
other
go.
decks or.
Here we go. Here we go, Alex. And I've watched
Yeah.
this. I've watched this match on YouTube. You can watch Bob Maurer Jr. play Brian Davis in the finals of PT Chicago 1999 on the YouTubes. Bob Maurer Jr. is playing Oath of Druids. Brian Davis is playing a Necro deck. So that's your answer to were there powerful enchantments running rampant in the meta at the time. Of course, you got the most powerful enchantment right in your own damn deck right here, Necro. So yeah, forget about what I'm saying about the mirror match. Probably in here for Necro decks. Then obviously Oath of Druids too was around at
Well,
that
it's
time.
just so good. I mean, it's good against every, what deck doesn't have either artifacts or enchantments that are important? I'm not saying there aren't any, but like that's gonna
Yeah.
affect a lot of decks at tournament level play.
I
People
was gonna
using
say
winter orbs and all these sort of cards that are like really common in I don't know about this year and this era exactly, but there's a lot of artifacts and enchantments that are key parts to decks.
I was gonna say what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say because I'm tired. What were you saying? Key artifacts, enchantments.
Yeah. You said right when I said winter
Oh,
orb, you looked interested.
I was gonna say you said what doesn't it work great against? And I was gonna say my dumb green deck.
Yeah, and for sure, like some kind of green horde deck or something that might not.
Well, no, but I didn't say it because I'm like, wait, it even screws my dumb green deck. Because what's in my dumb green pre-modern deck? Rancors, elephant
Oh, okay.
guides.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, enchantments are good. We've
That's a
talked
good
about it.
point. This is for Rancor, a card that like doesn't have, many solutions. Like this actually is a pretty decent solution to it.
What else came in and what else was in the? There were two Oath of Druids in this top eight too. So Oath of Druids, Necro. Yeah, great card to put in there. What else do I want to say about Cocoa Pebbles? That was about it. So, Necro is the key addition to this deck, along with Academy Erector. These are two great additions. I love how they work uh, to help you, find your combo pieces.
Uh-huh.
I like Cocoa Pebbles better. When I first heard about it, I was skeptical, Alex. I knew there was a Fruity Pebbles, and then I found that there was a Cocoa Pebbles, and I was like, what is Cocoa Pebbles? And then I see somebody say, oh, it's Fruity Pebbles with Necro. And just first hearing that, it sounded silly to me. I was like, why would you want to take a combo deck that already requires you to get out a red enchantment and then a white enchantment with 2 white mana in the casting cost and add a 3 black casting cost enchantment to the mix? It sounded like a terrible decision, but I'm now looking at it and it seems like a beautifully constructed deck. And there are definitely ways to make this work, especially when you have Dark Ritual available to you, especially when you have the ability to sacrifice Academy Rector to Phyrexian Tower. And then he threw some other things in here too, like, there's 3 copies of Peat Bog, which is one of the depletion counter lands from Arcadian Mask. Comes into play tapped with 2 depletion counters on it. Tap, remove a depletion counter from Peat Bog,
Okay.
add 2 black mana to your mana pool. If there are no
Yeah.
depletion counters on Peat Bog, sacrifice it. So,
That's nice to hear. And I like the gemstone mine. I don't know if the last deck had that or not, but uh
I don't know either. I do love Gemstone Mine. No.
and with the City of Brass, the gemstone mine, normally these, they have downsides, but you're really just trying to get that combo going. As soon as you get it, like you win, so you don't really care about the damage from the city or the counters being gone from the gemstone. Like you're just
Yeah,
going for the throat.
exactly. So I like Cocoa Pebbles a lot. I thought to
Yeah, I
myself,
think I like this better too.
yeah, I thought to myself, I don't have a middle school deck yet. So far, the decks I've put together since we've got back into Magic were one commander deck so far, old frame commander deck, and then I have a couple pre-modern decks that I've put together in paper. I have a bunch online, but just a couple I put together in paper. And I was looking at the middle school format too. It's very similar to pre-modern, but there's some additional cards that you can play in middle school that you can't play in pre-modern. And then there's also some minor rule differences. Things like middle school uses mana burn, middle school uses damage
I
on the
like that.
stack,
Oh, okay.
which is also kind of exciting because that gives me the ability to either play a couple cards that are illegal in pre-modern or to play a couple cards in more powerful ways that I can play them in pre-modern because, damage on the stack. Things like Morphling, for instance, all of a sudden become strong. So I picked up a couple Necros. I want to get a couple more. This is why I'm bringing this up because I want to build a Necro deck. That's going to be my middle school deck. I'm going to play
Oh,
Necro. And I thought this might be available to me in. No, it's not. Damn it. I was going to say, I wonder if this would be middle school legal, but I'm almost 100% sure demonic consultation is also banned in middle school. It's banned in
well,
pre-modern and middle school.
sure, you could probably build this deck without that, right?
You definitely could. We'll see how.
Can you play Urza's Saga or the Urza's block in
Yeah,
middle school? Okay.
yeah. It's the same. It's up to a Scourge, just like pre-modern, and I
Oh,
think
okay.
it might even start in fourth edition. If not, it starts in like fifth edition or something. But I think it's also fourth edition, the Scourge. I just know the card pool is very similar.
I thought it went back older than fourth edition, but I don't know. That was just probably my bias because that's, I was thinking about when I was in middle school.
That's not. That's not how the.
Is it
It's
middle
not.
school because it's like a middling format? Like,
No, no, I don't know actually. I think it might be because it might be because these were the cards that were legal, or these were the cards that were being
when someone
printed
else was in middle school?
around the time people our age were in middle school. That might actually be it. I'm just not specific to
Yeah.
your time in middle school. Being a restricted list to middle school. Let me try to find this. Find this real quick. Oh, Lion's Eye Diamond is unbanned in middle school too.
Did you say on band or unbanned?
I might have said on banned, but it's unbanned.
Oh, okay.
They unbanned it in May 1st, 2023. I'm looking on eternalcentral.com category middle school. There's like a bunch of posts, but it's not. Here we go. I'll go to the very first one, introducing middle school. I had to scroll down a bit. Middle school is a throwback format that encompasses these and many other strategies from Magic the Gathering, blah, blah, blah. It rewinds the clock back to 1995
Ah, okay.
and traverses along to partway through 2003 before the advent and introduction of modern borders. Ice Age through Scourge.
Okay.
Ice Age through Scourge. But what's the main set it starts with?
Fourth edition then probably.
Does it also start with fourth edition?
I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but it's
It
at Ice
must.
Age it would be.
It must, because when Ice Age was around, well,
Yeah, that's what fourth edition was out.
yeah. I mean, I can't remember if Ice Age was printed when we were still buying revised packs, but like Ice Age was available in the shops during the transition from revised to fourth edition because it was around for a while. It was available for a while.
Yeah.
Readily available for a while.
But it was, yeah, once Ice Age had been out for a while, I'm pretty sure, yeah, like revised was gone. I'm not sure how quickly that happened, but it was, yeah, fourth edition was the concurrent set with it.
And then the major rule differences are between middle school and pre-modern. Mana burn happens in middle school.
I love it.
Damage uses the stack, so you can do combat tricks with Morphling or Mog Fanatic. And then the Judgment Wish cycle works as originally designed, pre-M10 rules changes.
Oh,
Cunning Wish, Burning Wish, Living Wish, Death Wish, and Golden Wish were originally able to find an appropriate card that had either been removed from the game or was located in your sideboard. So you can use them in middle school to find cards that were
exiled
removed
cards.
from the game. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And now it's only sideboard is the newer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe that it should be exiled.
I do too, because
Sideboard.
that's what removed from I know we've talked about this. Yeah, I know, yeah.
You know what I'm gonna say. I don't think you know what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Exiled, sideboard, any card in your box,
Oh.
any card at home,
You're broadening it. Yeah.
any card in the shop. If you're playing at LGS, you should be able to pause the game, walk over to the counter, buy whatever single you
Buy a
need,
new card.
buy it, bring it back to the table. You should be able to pause the game, place an order on TCG Player, schedule a
How
time
do
for you
you
and your opponent to come back to the LGS
how do you
next
prevent
week after.
straw man purchases? I'm in the OGS with you. You pause the game, come over to me, and you buy a card for a penny from me, and then after the game, you sell it back to me for a
It's
penny.
not against the rules. It's not against my rules for how the wish cycle should work. So it's totally fine.
Okay.
Valid. That's what I
Cleared
say.
it up, just making sure.
How do you prevent those cases? You don't. It's valid. It's a valid use case.
Okay.
Anywho, that's Cocoa. That's Fruity Pebbles. That's Cocoa Pebbles. I like
Oh,
Fruity Pebbles a lot. I love Cocoa Pebbles. I think it's great. I think it's
I
great.
like that a 2 enchantment combo was competitive and worked. It's nice.
Yeah. That scares me. Just the idea of having to get 2 enchantments on the board and a creature. I'm like, forget about it. But I'm not a good combo player. I never
Normally
put
you would
together
think so,
combo
but
decks.
the thing about this combo to me that's so scary is that the second you get it down, it's just like an instant
It's
lock.
over.
It's an
Yeah.
instant win. It's just you win because you
Game
can
over.
do all of it at instant speed after that.
It's game over.
Yeah.
I could also try to assemble this in pre-modern. I know there are some games, and there's some gameplay online that I watched a little bit of Fruity Pebbles in pre-modern. There's some Fruity Pebbles games on the Cloud Goat Ranger YouTube channel. There was a Fruity Pebbles game on Modern Magic Emporium YouTube channel, which I believe is William Hurst's YouTube channel. He's the guy who operates the I Have Questions, a pre-modern magic podcast. So you can do it in pre-modern too. It's just not as easy to assemble. You don't have dual lands available to you. You don't have demonic consultation or necro available to you. You don't have some other things available to you. So it just makes it a little bit harder to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
that combo off. But Shield Sphere, Phyrexian Walker available to you, and so are
Yeah, pretty
Goblet
much everything
Bombardment
else.
and Enduring Renewal.
Um, by the way, what I said a minute ago was a little bit wrong. I guess that they can still interrupt your combo by countering one of the creatures because then Enduring Renewal won't trigger, right? Like, uh, it won't go to the graveyard from play. It'll go to the graveyard because it was countered.
Yes.
But then all you have to do is just draw another 0 casting cost creature or have another one
Yes.
in your hand,
Yes.
which is not a big deal.
Yeah. Yes. If they counter a part of your combo, then
And if they had the counter, they
that's true.
probably used it on one of the 2 enchantments already. So,
Well, there you go.
But I like how this uses duresses instead of the counter spells.
That does scare me though.
It does a little bit. I'd like to see, is that the only removal, just like the 4 duresses?
That's it.
Wow.
In the sideboard, he has a 1 abeyance, and then the 2 mana short. So these can, they don't do what duress does, but
They help lock down.
similar use cases help to protect your combo in some ways.
Interesting. No counter spells, only 4 duresses. That's a little scary to me, but
Pyroblast too. If you're playing,
God bless them for
bless their heart.
Yeah.
Bless Tony Dobson's heart. Okay, that's the end of segment 1. That's the end of the beginning of our cereal series. We got a whole lot of cereal decks to talk about later in the year.
I love cereal.
Cereal for dinner? Rank it out of 10.
Why not? Oh, rank it out of 10, meat?
Rated out of 10, cereal for dinner.
See, now you're gonna make me contradict myself and put my foot in my mouth. I don't know if I really want cereal for dinner most of the time. So
that's the right answer. I also love cereal, but yeah, cereal for dinner is no good. Breakfast for dinner is good, but that's not cereal.
Different kind of breakfast though. Different kind of breakfast.
Yeah, pancakes, bacon, sausage,
eggs,
Belgian waffles,
all that good
syrup.
stuff. Shrimp and grits.
Cereal's perfect after school snack.
Yeah.
Perfect
late night snack, evening snack.
Right before bed. It's perfect to go to sleep with a belly full of cereal, milk
I've done that
sloshing
a
down in
lot.
there.
Like not recently, but when I was younger, I used to do that a lot.
It feels
I
good
ate
for
some
some
cereal.
unknown reason. Okay. We're on to segment two. Segment two is called Market Moves in Old Frame MTG. We pay some attention to the market. We're not serious market guys, but we have a gander from time to time. We're
We
interested in
dabble.
seeing what cards are spiking, what cards are coming down. Do we have anything in our box that we can sell if they went up? The answer is no. We never sell, at least no longer. I did sell in the past. I've recognized my mistakes.
Learned
I'm
our lessons.
trying not to repeat the same mistake. Alex learned it the hardest possible way, selling a Black Lotus. There's nothing
Biffed
worse
it.
you could have
I
sold
biffed
in the
it right on the curb.
past. Luckily, the worst thing I ever sold was a Library of Alexandria. And I was watching a video on YouTube just yesterday on the Nerd and Proud of It channel, and he was talking about he bought a second Library of Alexandria. He bought one earlier, sounded like a few years ago. And after having it for a while, he noticed it had some sort of damage on it that was hard to see at first. He didn't go into the details. I'm guessing maybe it was inking or something based on how he was talking, because it was something you had to do some investigation to like really uncover.
Yeah, maybe one of my cards is a roller mark that I didn't notice for years because you
Okay.
just have to have it at the right light angle to see it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And anyways, it bothered him. So he bought a new one that was more pristine. And I was
Mhm.
watching the video and I was like, I miss my library, man. Never gonna have another one, probably. Who knows? You never know what's gonna happen. I miss my library, I miss my moat, I miss my dual lands.
Yeah,
But oh well, what would I do with them anyways?
it's true. If I
What?
had if I if I had the Black Lotus, I mean, sure, it's great. I wouldn't complain at all, but I'd also be kind of like paralyzed. I'm not sure if I would. I'd probably sell, but I'd be like, do I sell
You
this? Do I
repeat the
hold on to
same
it?
mistake. You
Right?
have to
Yeah.
hold it
Ah.
forever and then you die.
I was thinking about this the other day too. Like it, as dumb as that was in retrospect, like you have to remember that I paid a significant amount of money for that card back then,
That was a lot of money, yeah.
and I was trying to recoup it, and move on. We were moving on from the game, and it was kind of like, that was a good, we're just talking about a couple $100, but back
Yeah.
then that was a lot of like lawns I mowed to like save up for that Black Lotus, you
Yeah.
know. So it's kind of like I got to cash out.
Yeah. And I mean, my library, I probably 5 or 6x my money at least on that. I sold it. Maybe more. I might have 10x my money. I can't remember if I sold it for 100 something or 200 something. I bought it for like 25, $35. So,
Mhm. That's
that seemed
nice
like
at
a pretty
least.
damn
Yeah.
good,
But
good,
back then,
good return.
a lot of money, yeah, good profit. I made a little bit of money on the Lewis, but it was mostly just I was afraid it was gonna go down. I was afraid that the game was gonna die or something, and it was a dumb thing to hold on to.
Now you've learned, Alex. Buy high, never sell. As some people say, buy high, never sell. All that to say, some things have happened in the market over the last couple of weeks. Get back on topic. I want to talk about those things. The one thing that happened was this. This card, Reparations. This is a card from
Ooh,
Mirage. Alex
took
Woo.
off.
Alex wooing over there. It's one colorless, one white, one blue. Alex sees that line go vertical. He gets excited. He hoops and hollers.
And all that gold on the card. You see that big old coffer of gold there they got?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Sorry for burning down your village. What does it say?
Yeah, here's some gold. One colorless, one white, one blue enchantment. Whenever target opponent successfully casts a spell that targets you or a creature you control, you may draw a card. First and only printing is in Mirage. It's a reserve list card. It has a gather rating of 4.341, which is actually way higher than I thought it would be. But none of that's really all that important. Doesn't matter so much what the card does. Over the last few weeks, the price is literally 10x. It went from about $3 to about $30 market price. I think if you look this up on TCG Player, it might be a little bit cheap. Let me just do that right now. I meant to pull that up already. Sometimes, you look at MTG stocks and it gives you one price, but you can actually get them
Right.
cheaper
Yeah.
on a TCG player. Because
And
depends how.
sometimes the opposite. Sometimes, there are some for sale, but they're not really from someone you would really want to buy from. So
Yeah,
you have to go deeper.
it depends how quickly the market is making its moves. I don't know how often MTG stocks updates. I think it pulls a lot of the data from TCG player. Moderate play, $10, $15. I look at light play. When we see the prices on MTG stocks, that usually reflect in the light play price. So
Mhm.
yeah, smaller sellers, none of the direct TCG player sellers, but let's say around $18 on average. You got a page here of
Go to
cards.
near mint, see the near mints.
That'll probably be like 25, 30. Near mints, we're seeing the near mints. They start at 19, some at 21. Look,
I'd call it 25.
you're starting to see people list 10 copies, 5 copies. They're coming
That's
out
what I
of
was just going to
boxes.
say. The harder and more dramatic the spike, the more people come out of the woodwork, digging these out of their boxes to sell them. So there's a correction like right off the bat.
Yeah, so more copies. We see $3 to $30 here on MTG stocks. MTG stocks is writing articles about it. Everybody's pulling them out of boxes. They're posting them as fast as they possibly can on a TCG player. So you can pick them up for like 15, 20 now. This is what the MTG Stocks Weekly Winners article had to say about their recent interest in reparations. They wrote it up in their Weekly Winners article. You can imagine that in Commander games, there may be a lot of removal, and it's always nice that you get to draw a card whenever your creature gets removed, especially since a lot of cards have come out that revolve around committing a crime. There may be more cards that specifically target you or your creatures, but for now, this card seems to mainly be going up because of speculation, since it doesn't see a lot of commander play. Some of you may remember or know that on December 10th, 2020, Wizards banned several cards because of their offensive depictions or references. A content creator has mentioned that this card may be next on that list with no proof to back that up. This is what they say.
With no proof.
They put that in the article. That content creator was Wubby. I never heard of Wubby until recently when he started streaming about Magic the Gathering a lot. And he's the guy that's been opening up a bunch of unlimited packs, beta packs,
Uh-huh.
even
I saw.
alpha sealed product
Mhm.
on his streams. And he's been going on some streams of some other big YouTubers too. So he was streaming the other day. There was some discussion about this crazy flavor text. This is what's the word I want to notorious flavor text. Everybody knows about this. The flavor text on reparations. Sorry, I burned down your village. Here's some gold. Nowhere nearly as bad as some of the things that they've decided to ban, but probably worse than other things they've decided to ban. Regardless, on the stream, they were just talking about this flavor text, how maybe this would be the next card that would be added to the ban list for insensitivity reasons. I didn't know why that would matter at all, whether or not this card was added to a ban list for like rarity. That wouldn't affect the rarity or anything because it's already on the reserve list and it's not going to be reprinted. It's like some cards were put on this banned list for sensitivity reasons, and they're never going to be reprinted again. So then some people speculated on those because they're like, more of these are not going to be added to the market. Well, this is already a reserve list card. So it's never going to be reprinted and there will never be more on the market. So it's already like we already know there's a set number of cards,
Mhm.
set number of copies of reparations that will ever be reprinted. But it gets even more specific, and in my opinion, even more stupid, because I didn't think about this. He said on a stream that he thought it was possible this card could one day be banned as a problematic card. And if you wanted to get them graded, you'd have to buy them now and get them graded now before that happens, or they won't be able to be graded. So there must be some sort of deal that the grading companies have where they like refuse to grade problematic
Yeah, or voluntarily they
cards.
do it, or some of them do it.
Well, of course, it would be a voluntary decision for them to not grade it, but
Yeah, yeah.
that must be a thing that they're doing right now that I'm
I
not aware
guess.
of because
Yeah, I guess.
I don't pay any attention to the graded market. I never have had any uh, desire to have a card graded, and I never will unless I were to stumble across like sealed alpha product and for some reason open it and then decide to grade it. I could grade something like that, but I'm not the kind of person that buys random Mirage reserve list cards and sends them to get graded so I can try to sell them to somebody for like 5x or 10x the price. But that's essentially what he apparently said on a stream. Not just that they're going to ban it because it's problematic, because like I said, it's already on the reserve list, or it's already unable to be reprinted, but that if you wanted to have it graded, you have to do that now. Because if it's put on the banned
Yeah.
or problematic list, then it won't be graded. So he had over 10,000 people watching the stream when he was talking about this. And then midstream, people just started buying them up off a TCG player on eBay. Like they were just disappearing as he was talking. He wasn't even telling people, as far as I can tell, like to speculate on this card. He wasn't actively buying it up. I think towards the end of the stream, he like went to buy a copy and he was like, you guys just, you just bought up a bunch of the
Oh,
copies.
so
You got,
you don't think it was like a wink wink kind of like, you know, he was like trying to point out to people that they had a window to buy this card and get it graded like
I
on
think he
purpose?
was just talking about it. I certainly don't think he was giving it out as financial
Okay.
advice. It's not good financial advice. I mean, this is only happening because everybody it's this
Yeah,
is a
like
meme.
that's stupid. Like
It is a meme card. Yeah. It's as soon as people forget about this stream, then they're going to be like, why do I have 20 copies of reparations? It's not something they're going to want 6 months from now, I don't think. I also want to point out this happened in 2020. And literally for the same reason.
I was wondering what this
People
card's history was with like Storm, like if this saw more use when like Storm or certain other mechanics were introduced.
I don't think it was ever a super popular card from a play
Yeah.
perspective. It was never expensive. 2018 is another time where buyouts happened. This was a target then. 2020, when buyouts happened, this was a target. And around this time, I remember people talking specifically about this flavor text and how maybe this is kind of problematic. People were buying it for the meme, as the kids say. And then the same thing happened just because Wubby was talking about it on his stream. I think it's funny how in the MTG Stocks weekly winners article, they had to begin the paragraph talking about how you can imagine this coming in handy in commander games, blah, blah, blah. But nobody really plays it. Nobody really plays it. It's just because Wubby was talking about it on his stream. That's it. Although I did think about buying this at some point because I was like, maybe this would be kind of fun to play. I don't know. And a
Well, it has an
blue white
interesting
control
effect.
deck. Yeah.
And like you said, with the crimes and with, certain new cards get printed that, deal with the targeting of things. So, I could see it being, potentially useful in the future.
Anyways, reparations are shooting up in price. We got a couple more cards that have been shooting up in price. There's two cards from Legends that are spiking for pretty much the same reason. The first one we'll talk about is Sea King's Blessing, which has beautiful art, by the way. Quite lovely.
Yeah, I think so too. Very nice sunsetty art.
Yeah, it's just good color scheme. It really pops. Sea King's Blessing is an uncommon one from Legends. 1 blue. Instant changes the color of one or more target creatures to blue until end of turn. You choose which and how many creatures are affected. Cost to tap, maintain, or use a special ability of target creatures remained entirely unchanged. The other one is that's one. The other one that's spiking in Legends is Sylvan Paradise. It has a very similar effect. It's just a green card instead of a blue card. So it's 1 green instant. changes the color of one or more target creatures to green until end of turn. You choose which and how many creatures are affected, cost a tap, maintain, or use a special ability of target creatures remains entirely unchanged. In both cases, their first printing was in Legends, and their only printing was in Legends. Sea King's Blessing was, well, up until 2020, it was very cheap, probably like $1 or $2. $1, like $1.50. It went up in 2020 when everybody was buying Magic cards. It was $15. It's been slowly coming down ever since. And then just the other day, it shot up from what, $2, $3 to $27. Similar thing happened with Sylvan Paradise. Shot up from $8 to almost $40. So it's at $38 right now. Sylvan Paradise on TCG Player. I want to see what they're really selling for. MTG stock says what? $37, $38? Only 8 listings. Light play starts at $48.50. Okay, so it's still going up. And MTG stocks isn't actually reflecting the accurate current light play market price. What's Sea King's Blessing at? Near mint 35, light played 40. Yeah, so they're at 40 to $50 right now. Easy.
Ooh.
There's 12 copies of Sea King's Blessing on TCG Player.
That's
8
wild.
copies of Sylvan's Paradise. So these are weird cards, they have, what do you think are minor effects? People weren't really interested in these effects for a very long time. These are not meme cards necessarily. A streamer wasn't talking about them. There was a new card printed in Modern Horizons 3. It's a new legendary bird wizard called Nadu Winged Wisdom. And
like
those
this
two cards work incredibly well with Nadu.
Go to the
who
different
is
picture.
one colorless, one green, one blue. I'll do this, yeah. Portrait one,
Yeah,
because it's quite nice.
so much better.
I like these portrait treatments. Is this it? Probably.
Yeah, the expensive one.
I don't know if I clicked on it or not. There we go. The borderless one. One colorless, one green, one blue. 3/4 flying. Creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. This ability triggers only twice each turn. So for 1 mana with the Sylvan Paradise and the Sea King's Blessing, you can target however many of your creatures you want to target to trigger Nadu's effect.
Yeah.
Nadu's ability. And you can do it at instant speed. So it's not really important that you're changing the color to green or changing the color to blue with Sea King's Blessing. All it's important is that you're targeting your creature.
Yeah.
You're targeting however many of your creatures you want to target, and you're doing it for just 1 mana at instant speed. It's hard to, if you're just looking for a general targeter, it's hard to beat 1 mana at instant speed.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So people are looking at Nadu Winged Wisdom. They think it's going to be a big commander. It's obviously has a very powerful effect. We'll see if it gets banned or not. That would be kind of funny if it got banned after everybody bought $70 copies of Sylvan Paradise and Sea King's Blessing.
Yeah, I swear I kind of thought I bought a Sea King's Blessing just because I liked the sunset art on it, but I couldn't find it, so I guess maybe I never got around to it.
I don't remember the context, but you brought up both of these cards to me. I think it might have been even on an early episode of the podcast when we were just randomly like browsing through Legends or something. I
I
think
noticed them before. It might have been something that I commented on as being like, potentially useful in the future because
you
just because of
did.
its use to so
You did.
yeah. But I think Sylvan Paradise was always a little more money, so I was never even looking at that because it was
It
more
was. It was like
expensive.
$8 or something.
Damn.
Yeah, for since we've been back in the game, it got up. It got up to $15. I mean, $8. But Sea King's Blessing was definitely available for cheaper. Could have picked it up for like 3 or something. So those are two cards that are spiking for. We have one card that's spiking for meme reasons, two cards that are spiking for gameplay reasons. This is a potentially very interesting gameplay reason. We'll see if Nadu becomes big. We'll see if Nadu becomes a problem. We'll see if it becomes banned. Who knows? If it becomes banned, are you stuck with your $50 Sylvan Paradises? Are you going to lose money on Silver Paradises? Or, you know, will this price continue to go up for different reasons? Somebody on the internet pointed out that, this card has side boob in it. We see a lady. She's not clothed, side boob. That's currently potentially problematic. You don't see a lot of Magic the Gathering art with side boob in it. So this is something that they don't do any longer and may never do in the future. So this could be your only chance to get vintage Magic the Gathering side boob. So this is a potential investment thesis, in my opinion. One investment thesis is Nadu. Second investment thesis is side boob. Sea King's Blessing cannot benefit from the side boob investment thesis.
That is correct.
You might say to me, Steve, what kind of investment thesis is side boob? And I'd be like, have you met some Magic the Gathering players? There is a subset of Magic the Gathering players who make unusual choices with the type of accessories they purchase, for instance. I want to show you something, Alex. This is Exhibit A.
Oh no.
I went to an LGS, right? I bought at an LGS. I just walked in, wanted to browse their cards. I was going through their singles. I found a couple things that I liked. I bought the cards. I took them home. They were in sleeves. Like whoever bought them, he didn't unsleeve them and put them into like penny sleeves or any other type of sleeves. He just kept them in the sleeves that the people who brought them in, sold them in. He didn't waste his time on sleeve them. They were cheap cards. They're like $1, 50 cents, whatever. I bring the cards home. These are the sleeves that this card was in. I can't remember what the card is in. I can't remember what the card was, but these are the kind of accessories that certain Magic the Gathering players purchase and then they bring to LGSs. For anybody who's just listening to the audio, I mean, it's lovely art. It's two young ladies, two beautiful young ladies in a sensual embrace. Whoever drew the picture is very talented. It's lovely sapphic art, but it's not necessarily the most appropriate, right? Especially for like a children's card game, especially if you're sleeving up and like going somewhere public to play with other
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
I wouldn't say
Gotta
this is
keep it
necessarily the most,
PG,
yeah,
PG-13,
it's not
guys.
necessarily the most appropriate thing for the gathering, for instance. But there are some Magic the Gathering players who like to buy this type of thing and bring it to the gathering. So I would argue that those type of players might invest in Sideboot. That's my argument. And that's the end of Market Removes and Full-Frame MTG, segment 2.
I can't
We're now
contest
moving on.
that.
What did you say?
I said I can't contest that.
This isn't even, I couldn't find the other sleeve. So this is the there were two sleeves that I looked at and I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? This was by far the tamer one. There was another one. I don't know where it's at. I might have thrown it away. I was surprised I still had this one. It was just sitting in my box.
All right.
Segment 3, the Old Mage Commander Corner. This is the segment of the episode where we build our commander decks. Alex and I are currently building our commander decks for 2024. We're almost done. They're both old frame again. Mine is an Atog deck. I have named it a deck. And today, I got to start adding some lands to it because I'm not entirely sure how many spaces I have left. commander. I have mostly non-basic lands in the deck so far. I'm going to start adding some basics. A deck in progress. Again, Atog is my commander. I have several of my favorite old frame Atogs in here. I have some enchantment related cards because it's also a very enchantment heavy deck with a bit of a group hug theme. My plan is to kill people with commander damage via the Atog. So I have to assemble several Atogs and some stuff to feed to the Atogs to pump them up a little bit before I feed them to Atog to swing in for my commander damage. And, you know, building up that board state takes a little while. I got to protect my stuff, so I got a lot of group hug related cards in here too. But for the lands, today I'm going to add 6 islands. So I only have 1 island here so far. 1, 2, 3,
It's a
4,
pretty pile of lands.
5, 6. So I'm coming up to 7 islands. I'm going to add 5 forests. I'm going to go up to 7 forests. I'm going to add some plains as well, because everybody needs some plains. The core of the deck is green, blue, white. 4 plains. I got to add 1 more mountain. So I'm going to have a total of 2 mountains. Not a lot of red in the deck. So I'm not too worried about my red mana. And then I'm going to have 3 swamps total. So I'm going to need 2 more swamps. If Moxfield will cooperate, I'll do this. It's not cooperating right now. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to add 1 gemstone mine and 1 reflecting pool also. You know, I'm running a 5-color deck. Got to make sure I get the mana that I need when I need it. These are some of my favorite lands to run in 5-color decks. Where'd that reflecting pool go? I'm going to change it to Tempest. I always really liked reflecting pool. I liked this card a lot when it came out. I still like playing a lot these days. Reflecting pool. So that's 37 lands. I might still need to add some more lands. I have 37 lands, 1 Felwar Stone, 1 Soul Ring, and 1 Bird of Paradise. Probably gonna want to add some more lands too.
It's tough, like with the 5-color now, because it's like, you know, I mean, you could put some pain lands in, but now you're getting into like, I don't have any basic lands left. So if something can destroy or hinder non-basic lands, then you're in trouble.
Yeah. And
And
actually
like,
one
do
of
you
my
plan
lands,
against that, or do you just like not worry about it? Like, I don't know.
I'm gonna not worry about it.
Probably
Uh
better to have good
one
mana.
of one of my lands is Maze of Eth too. So that's not gonna
Yeah,
help
that
me
doesn't
out
count.
in a was. So I'm gonna add a few spells today, a couple spells today, actually. Couple few. One is Constant Mists to continue with the Pillow Fort theme. Constant Mist is an instant. 1 colorless, 1 green. Buy back, sacrifice a land. Creatures deal no combat damage this turn. So I'm trying to dissuade people from attacking me, you know. Put a Constant Mist in there. And I also wanted some more removal. I was looking at this deck and I was like, I have some counter magic. I have a little bit of removal, but not a whole lot. I have Swords of Plowshares. I could potentially fireball something that's given me problems. For smaller creatures, I could lightning bolt it, but I don't have a lot of removal. I could steal some things with the Preacher. I felt like I needed a little bit more removal. I have a Hull Breach in here to get rid of artifacts and enchantments. I put a Vindicate in. That'll help me clear out anything that's particularly problematic. I was going through the removal card pool in Premodern, and I came across Terminate, and I was like, I would like to add a Terminate to this too.
It's a good one. With constant mists, is the buyback like that important to you, or like do you think Tangle is better? I like Tangle.
I have to remind myself what Tangle is.
Tangle
It
is,
causes no damage and they don't untap the next turn.
yeah, same
I
casting
like
cost, but instead of buyback, it just keeps all the creatures that attack tapped for a whole turn.
I kind of like having the constant miss sitting in my graveyard. Like if I just don't want people to attack me for a little while, I feel like if they make the mistake once, I cast the constant miss. I take no combat damage. And if they want to attack me again, they're staring at that constant miss in their graveyard, and they might think maybe I want to go attack somebody
So,
else instead.
but so buyback isn't the same as flashback. When you do the buyback, you have to sacrifice the land when you cast the constant mists, I think.
Okay, well it goes back to my hand then. Either way, I
You may
still have it to
sacrifice a
play.
land in addition
Yeah.
to any other costs as you cast the spell if you do put this card into your hand.
Okay, it comes back to my hand. Either way, they know I have it available to cast again.
Yeah, okay, true. Yeah, then they
That
know
that's
it's in
that's
your
what I
hand.
like about it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And good point. That's having the deterrent there. They know that it's back in your hand. So,
I just kind of want to direct them somewhere else if I can
uh-huh.
for as long as I can. Whereas Tangle, yes,
It punishes them more.
I buy myself 2 turns, but yes, it punishes them no more.
It
And they
maybe
make
makes other people attack them, but now they're mad at you.
they're mad at me, yes.
Yeah. And they
Uh,
don't think you have a constant mists in your hand.
so how many cards do I have in this deck so far? Scrolling down. I always have trouble finding this information. 95 main deck. So I have 5 more spots. 5 more spots. I'm getting close. I think maybe I use those spots for a little bit more land, maybe 1 or 2 more enchantments, maybe 1 more piece of removal. I got to think about it. I'm considering a board wipe of some sort in case I just find myself in a bad spot
Uh-huh.
and I need to blow things up. It's just something I'm thinking about. But that's the current state of a deck. We're now moving on to Alex's commander deck called Seaton's Power with Seaton, Crows, and Protector at the helm. Alex, I think you have 90 some cards already in your deck too, I think.
Getting close.
Last week.
I still have some tweaking to do. I'm gonna do 1 or 2 segments on, considering some other cards and maybe removing some and, tweaking it. So, we're not done. I have to say I'm enjoying this deck that I'm building though. I think I'm gonna build it in paper as my first like paper real existing commander deck. It won't be too expensive to build, I don't think. And
Okay.
should be pretty simple, straightforward.
I'm going to build mine in paper too, minus the dual lands that I don't own already. I only have 3
Right,
dual
yeah.
lands. I got to figure
Put some
out
pain lands in.
well, yeah, I got to figure out which ones I want to go with. Like I could go with Pain Lands, or I can go with the invasion lands that come in tapped. So that's all I have to think. What do I put in? Pain
A
lands
lot of
or tap
options.
lands?
I know. It's tough. Okay, today I have just oh, wait, how many cards are we at? Scroll down and find out. 95 or 96 or something.
All the way down at the bottom. 93.
Okay, good, good. Not bad. All right. Today, no real theme. I just have a couple cards from different categories that I will add. Uh, First card, Pattern of Rebirth. I pretty much knew I was going to put this in all along, and I don't know, didn't yet. So I will put it in now.
You were waiting for the big reveal. You knew it was going to happen all along. We were all
Well, I
waiting.
don't know if I have too many cards like that. Natural Order, Defense of the Heart, etc.
Why did you sound like you were getting defensive, Alex? I was just saying you were doing it all. You knew it was going to happen all along. You sounded defensive.
I'm just saying that's what my reasoning was.
That
I'm
wasn't a
worried that I will
criticism. I was
have
just
too
making a
many.
statement. Just making a statement. Pattern of Rebirth is one that I always forget exactly what it does. It's an
It's an
enchantment,
aura, and then when the
which I
creature
forgot.
dies, it's like Academy Rector kind of, but it puts a creature into play instead of an enchantment.
I believe Pattern of Rebirth will be a feature card in a future serial deck that we're going to discuss.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I
When
like it.
enchantment, when enchanted creature is put into a graveyard from play, that creature's controller may search his or her library for a creature card, put that card into play. Shuffle your library.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's a
it
lot
is.
like natural order, but the creature has to die. You have to sacrifice it or pitch, block with it or something.
Has my screen been dark the whole time we've been recording?
No, what do you mean? Oh, your
It
screen?
just went, it just, I couldn't, I think it just went dark. Does it look any different for you if I go like this? Do you see it go dark and light? Okay,
No,
good.
but I did see that happen once earlier. I saw like the tint of one of the cards changed just a bit, but it was very mild.
Okay, well, if you're not noticing anything on your end, then I'm sure it won't be happening in the record. It should look fine in the recording.
Mhm.
Okie dokie. Pattern of Rebirth. Elves and a turtle.
Well, I love turtle. All right, next card. Uh, this is a fun one for me because it's a really old card. And since we're doing the old border commander decks, it's nice to be able to pull out, some of these cards from Legends and the older sets.
Oh,
I
I
would
was
like
gonna
to
say,
add,
does it start with an I?
no, no, what starts with an I?
Well, you said legends, and then
I did.
oh, you already have the card. When you said old green, I was thinking of Instill Energy.
Oh,
An old green legend. Metamorphosis.
no, interesting.
Does it does it start with it? What letter does it start with?
A
What's the second letter?
V
What's the third one?
O.
Is there like a fairy like hopping away in
Yep,
the and
yep, you got it.
what's the fourth letter?
I
What's the fifth one?
D.
Avoid.
Avoid fate.
Ah, I couldn't remember the rest of it. Okay.
Good guess though. You knew the art of the card without even knowing what it was called. Or the
Avoid
the effect
fate.
really.
Avoid fate. The blue counter spell, kind of, but not really,
Yeah.
but also kind of.
It counters instants.
Yeah. Ooh.
Instants and auras. But I mean, that's not too bad. There's a fair amount of instants that could destroy one of my permanents.
Yeah. If I try to sort the plowshares,
Yep. It's good swords to
cast avoid
plowshares.
fate.
And if, combat tricks are going on, I'm attacking, I'm pumping something, I want to be able to maybe counter someone else's combat trick.
This is a card that got way better when they errated all interrupts to instants. This used to say counter target, interrupt, or enchantment,
Yeah.
which means you could use it to counter a counter spell, which was kind of cool. It
Right.
was cool, but it
But
just
now you
usually
can
didn't
use it
work
to
for you.
counter a swords to plowshares or a lightning bolt.
Yeah. Time spiral. Here's the updated language. Counter target instant or aura spell. That makes it so much better.
Mhm.
Like orders of magnitude better. It's like, oh, this card that used to be able to counter a counter spell can now
Or
counter
a
a
dark
count.
ritual, maybe.
Yeah, can now counter a counter spell. Well, now it can't counter a dark ritual because a dark ritual is a mana source now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think. Right? Is that what they changed
Yep.
it to?
Yep.
So it's not even an
Pretty
instant.
sure.
It's
Yep.
so it used to be able to counter a counter spell, but now it can counter a counter spell or a lightning bolt or swords of plowshare or a disenchant or come on. Like they made a completely different card.
You
Now
can
that
counter
I'm
a
remembering
worldly,
that, I
you
like
can
it so
counter a
much.
worldly tutor
Counter really tutor.
right there. A tangle.
Uh, well, not a whirly tutor. Can only counter spells that target a permanent under your control.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
I got
forget about
carried
the
away.
Dark Ritual. Yeah, it's good enough that it can counter a Swords to Plowshare or a Disenchant or Lightning Bolt. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that'll be fun to have in there in a commander game. Keep that in my pocket. Use it for a surprise.
And definitely much easier to pull off after the errata too. So
Yeah. All right. Next card, I want to add Forgotten Ancient because I have
you
trouble not putting this in a green commander deck.
I was gonna say, because you put it in all your decks. Forgotten Ancient.
All my green commander decks, at least.
Yes. Forgotten Ancient. What was this first printed in? I'm forgetting. I keep forgetting. Scourge. That's it. Scourge.
Did it. Okay. One more card.
You're at 95 cards now. It's one more card. And then we got 4 to go. Maybe we finish next week. Maybe we finish the deck. Oh no, you want a week where we have discussions about
I think so.
potential
Yeah,
additions
like a revision week. I think maybe.
We'll do that. You want to do that next week where we have some discussions? It doesn't necessarily need to be done, the week after, but you want to have some
Yeah,
discussions
I don't care. I'm
next week?
flexible.
Okay. Okay, there we go.
Oh, I don't know if this one will stay or not, but I've been looking a lot at compost.
Compost. Something about mana generation. Right?
It's a bit of a black hate card.
Wow, okay. One colorless, one green enchantment. Whenever a black card is put into one of your opponent's graveyards, you may draw a card. Don't love it.
I don't know. I don't know if I like it or not, but I, feel like in a commander game, black spells will be cast, and then I will draw cards because of them.
I love it in sideboards.
Yeah.
A fruit must rot before its seed can sprout. That's what the Yavimaya say. I would not have guessed
You have
this
me
was
questioning it immediately as soon as I announced it.
Well, you started by saying, I don't know if I'm going to keep this in.
Yeah. Well, and you don't love it, so maybe I'll just kill it now.
It just could be a total dud for you.
It could.
And even if it's not a total dud, where does black rank on the frequency of play? I don't know. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe let's take it back out. Take it back out, Steve.
It's gone.
Instead, we'll put in Timberwatch Elf. We did some elves last week.
I did want to say, I wouldn't have guessed that this was Douglas Schuler art. I don't know why. I didn't see this and think this is Douglas Schuler art.
Okay, yeah.
I look at reparations and I think Douglas Schuler art. You know what I'm saying?
Trying to think of what card I think of as Douglas Schuler art.
Sarah Angel, Demonic Tutor, Psionic Blast, Icy Manipulator.
It was good. You did a good job.
Faces like this. Faces just like this. There are no faces in this card. So you don't get the distinct Douglas Schuler
That
face.
sort of like ruddy shading on the face a lot. Like reddish kind of.
What happened to the commander decks in Mossfield? Where'd they go? Did I exit out of the window?
Should delete our deck, Steve.
How did I exit out of the window? How did that happen, Alex? What did I do? What did they do to us? Seaton's Power 2024. What did they do? Okay, what were we saying? You removed compost. I'm zoning out.
Yeah, I removed compost. Uh, you helped me veto it. You brought me to my senses.
That's a terrible choice.
Instead, I will go back to my elves from last week, and I'm going to add Timberwatch Elf, an elf I did not add, but I wanted to.
Timberwatch Elf.
Timberwatch Elf taps to add +X/+X to a creature where X is the number of elves on the battlefield, not just my elves, but other people's elves as well.
That's psycho shit
Yeah. So,
from Legions.
I can tap it and give something +4/+4 or something, probably.
Okay.
Should be
Okay.
good.
Common from Legions. Pretty cool. Ooh. You know what I like about this card?
What?
I want to zoom in on. I want to zoom in, and it makes it hard for me to see it large because as soon as I put my cursor over another card,
Yeah.
it switches to that other card, and it's stuck here in the middle.
It's kind of like a Rubik's Cube that you got going on.
But I just wanted to say, I love drawing birch trees, and I love seeing birch trees in art.
Yeah.
So I like that this. It looks like a birch tree. It's actually might not be a birch tree because that's way too thick to be a birch tree, but it's drawn like a
Yeah.
birch tree.
And like weirdly spotty, but it's
Yeah.
evocative of a birch tree.
Yes, and I love birch tree. That's all I
My
wanted to
sister
say.
has a good birch tree painting in her dining room. And it's funny because if you turn it upside down, you can't
Looks the
tell
same.
if it's right side up or upside down with all the
It's one of
birch.
the great things about birch trees. You never know whether or not they're right side up or upside down. That's how
Dangerous
I,
for parachuters if you get tangled.
that's how I like to draw birch trees. I never draw the top of the birch tree. I just draw trunk. Bottom of the page starts with trunk. Top of the page ends with trunk. That's how they're funnest to draw. Just lines, and then
Now I'm going
you
to do an art series that's just the
and
tops
they
of
do that.
birch trees. Birch
You'd be the
trees from
only
top
one.
down view.
You never see that. There's artwork, all eons of artwork, from cave paintings to modern day digital.
No top down
Birch
birch trees.
trees, no top, all trunk. It's the funnest part to draw. And that's the end of the Old Mage
We
MTG
did it.
Commander Corner, I think. We did it, Alex. They said we couldn't do it, but we did it. Who said we couldn't do it? I don't know. Maybe you and me both said maybe we can't do this because we're both really tired. Maybe we won't make it to the end. Alex, you said I might have to take a potty break in the middle of the episode. So we might have to stop. And I said, Alex, why are you calling it a potty break? That's weird. Don't say stuff like that. You're a grown man. Why'd you say potty break? And then I said, have you ever eaten a sandwich while you were on the toilet? And you said, what did you say, Alex?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's the right answer. That is what you said. And that's the right answer because it's weird to eat while you're on
You're
the
trying to trip me
toilet.
up there. You're trying to trip me up.
I was trying to trick you. I wanted to see if your answer was consistent. But anyways, that's the end of the show. I don't have anything else to say for the day. I'm out of stuff to talk about. What are we going to talk about next week? I don't know what we're going to talk about next week.
More cereal decks?
I don't know if I wanted to go straight into the cereal deck or if I wanted to take a little break. I don't
Okay.
want to just do cereal, cereal, cereal.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe we'll talk a little bit about some vision stuff, but I don't know exactly what I want to say about visions. We talked about Ice Age. We talked about alliances. We even devoted a whole episode to homelands. I don't know that I want to just do like a general episode on visions because I'm just not that inspired. We've done episodes before where we spent the whole episode talking about visions cards. We've kind of already talked about all the stuff that I really like from visions. Mostly the commons, the enter the battlefield creatures and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I love natural order. That's one of my favorite cards of all time. But I don't know how many other things I want to talk about visions. Maybe we'll talk about some decks that were big around the time Visions was printed. Maybe we talk about natural order decks. There's been all sorts of fun natural order decks that people have made over the years. I just don't know. maybe I don't come up with any good ideas and we do talk about some cereal next week because that's kind of easy, you know? We'll talk about tricks, maybe. We'll talk about some turtle splash. Nobody knows. I don't know. Maybe we cancel the episode next week and I just lay in my bed and stare at the ceiling.
Maybe there will be
Because
a big meteor.
I hope not. Are you ready? Are you right? Are you right with God, Alex? If the meteor struck tomorrow, do you know where you're going to end up? Hmm? If the answer is no, maybe you need to reevaluate the way you're living your life, Alex. I don't know. Do you have
I
anything to
better
say to the
send some
viewers?
money to the church.
Yeah, can you pay not reparations?
R-
What's it pay? What's it called when you pay the church to
Tithe.
forgive you of your sins? No, no, but there's a specific term for forgival of sins. I know the tithe is just a
Yes,
general.
yes. Uh,
Yeah, we can't end the
I'll
episode
remember
tonight.
it.
Well, I can luckily we have Google. Indulgence,
Yep, there you go.
a distinctive feature of the penitential system of both the Western medieval and the Roman Catholic Church that granted full or partial remission of the punishment of sins.
Like a carbon tax for rich people's sins.
Yeah. Rich people, they could just you really can't buy anything.
Uh-huh.
They say money can't buy happiness, but if money can buy you a spot in heaven,
Uh-huh.
what can make you happier than that? I mean, I think maybe money can buy happiness. So click on that affiliate link. Next time you want to buy some Magic the Gathering cards, Alex and I get a little bit of money. Maybe we'll send it to the church to forgive us of our sins and we won't go to hell.
That'd
It's
be
a
good.
win-win for everybody. Alex and I get to spend eternity in paradise, and you get the magic cards that you want. That's all I have to say. Do you have anything to say to the viewers before we leave, Alex?
Thank you for tuning in.
Okay. See you next week.
I ain't gonna do this anymore. That's all from me. Goodbye.